All right, guys, let's do this thing. We're trying to get some June readings done. We're trying to get on top of schedule. Memorial Day weekend, I'm going to do my best not to do any readings and get some rest and relaxation. Took a little extra time off from work. And yeah, anyways, welcome to the channel. My name's Mark, and glad you're here. Glad you tuned in. Get yourself something to drink and or something to munch on, and or both. And this is meant to be fun and entertaining, and have some value also. Oh, shoots. All right, guys. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah. Ah, you have 5. All right. Release, High Priestess, the Chariot, the Magician, the One of Earth. All right, Gemini. What are you doing here? Some crazy energy here. So, release. That's Scorpio energy in this deck. For those of you who like the signs, got to know what sign it is. But this is supposed to be your energy here. And then endings that lead to new beginnings. The need to release situations or people hold you back. Spiritual transformation. So, in the regular tarot deck, they're showing the tower coming down, which, you know, we all get caught into labeling stuff that's good, that's bad. For something new to happen, the old's got to be destroyed sometimes, And that's what this is saying, let it go. Let it fall sometimes. Let your whole, sometimes you do have to let your whole life blow up to kind of rebuild. Then we have the High Priestess. Meditate and turn inward to discover your soul's true desires. This is not a time for action. Develop your intuitive gifts and trust the wisdom you receive, right? So the High Priestess is a seer, right? That's the type of energy, right? So they don't have to be physically watching something to know what's happening. Again, you're not going to sneak up on this person in the 3D. They know you're coming before you know you're coming after them. Um, yeah, metaphorically. Yeah. And then we have the Chariot. So action, onward, and that's Cancer energy. Rewards that come from hard work, successful balancing any priorities at once. Many, I'm sorry, not any. Successfully balancing many priorities at once, determination and willpower, public recognition. So this is all about movement. This is all about action, and letting those two horses pull the chariot equally, so you don't go around in circles. All right, Gemini. Now what we got? All right, One of Earth, the windfall of abundance, wise counsel, or good fortune, exciting career opportunity, lucrative contract, significant purchase like a home or vehicle. All right, fertility. The little girl's holding a rabbit. That's fertility. Spring and stuff's blooming and stuff. So that's the energy of this card is that, somebody's coming into theirs. It's Gemini. Some of you have the sign of Gemini. You're coming into, some prosperity for the 3D life. And then we have the magician. Excuse me. Itchy. Um, Magic is alive in your life. What you need to be successful will manifest. If you believe it, you can do it. So, um, this person's working with the elements. They're pretty adept at what they do. They're skilled. They're a creator. There's an infant. There's a lot of different symbols around too. Infinity, and there's a staff. There's a feather. So I don't know. It could be their book of shadows, their book of spells, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not fully tuned into that world or that energy. We have embrace. Second row is their energy, Gemini. We have simply love. Looks like a man and their son. 2 generations. Heal. That one really wanted to come out. Let's see what we got, Gemini. Your person, success and growth. Believe that we had that with Aquarius for June. All right, so the first card's Embrace. We've had that out before too, right? So it's either in Capricorn or Aquarius. Um, it's about, standing in your own power, embracing what you have, not backing down, standing with both feet, 10 toes on the ground, standing up for yourself and being that powerful creator of your own life, your own journey. Then we have the sixth card, Simply Love. Um, and that other card's a 21, so 2 and 1 together is 3. 3 for me is Ascended Masters, could be Christ energy too, and or both, right? 6, Simply Love. Again, so this is the male energy. This looks like, the father and son, as far as a family life, it looks like generations, they're really grounded energy, really earth based, you know. Uh, 6 sort of about commitment, but the nice thing about 6 is you've broken free from the 5, in that stuck energy or energy of conflict. Then we have heal. Some of you might be healers, or it's time to heal, break the chains. This is this is more, somebody needs healing. That's your person, Gemini. They might be going on a venture, and for those of you that haven't done real healing work and stuff, man, it ain't always a bucket of roses, right? But in the end, it gives you more freedom that you would ever have. They show it, breaking the chains. But sometimes it takes a lot of work and a lot of time. Doing whatever and letting somebody do energy work on you, doing therapy, releasing, forgiving, all that stuff. And then we have 8. That's abundance. That's abundance. Yeah, abundance. 8's abundance. But if you turn it this way, sort of like the infinity symbol. But anyways, this is showing sort of a vine with new growth on there. So you already planted the seeds. You already planted the seeds and stuff's developing. Starts off in mental thought. You know, magician. What's above came from below, came from within. But a lot of it starts off in 5D with spirit, and then it materializes in the 3D. All right, kind of weird energy, Gemini, your person. Seems like a male dominant energy. All 4 cards are male. Talking about male energy. So I'm gonna have to assume that, first row Gemini, especially with the high priestess, you're female energy. Let's get a few cards. I switched up on the romance deck I was using for Capricorn and Aquarius because it just wasn't working. All right, take a leap of faith. We're already doing better. Twin Flames. This is a mutt deck. This is like 4 decks combined together. Well, parts of 4 decks combined. Open yourself to others. And then we have the butterfly and reunion. Yeah, so wow. Okay. All right. Imagine that. Spirit was guiding me to change decks, and this became a lot easier. Take a leap of faith. Only when you're willing to step out of your comfort zone, what you're familiar with, right, will you reap great rewards. So, talking about there's going to be risk, to try new stuff, but that's how you get new things. That's how you develop new taste and man, my tongue is killing me this reading. Preferences. Easy for you to say. If anyone has a trick on saying that, let me know. Preferences. If I don't think about it, it's easier. Twin flames. All right. So, again, I'll do my little redundant schmeal on this, right? I don't like it because it's overused and it's not understood properly. I like soulmates better, but the thing with twin flames is they can be here to show you a lesson about yourself that will break your chains to move on into better relationships. But the hard part is not falling in love with the healer or not thinking the healer is your person because they might just be passing through. and holding a mirror up to what you're projecting out, and you finally get the lesson. So there it is. You heard it here. Open yourself to others. This is how you create new friendships and attract a love relationship. So really positive vibe here. Yeah, these are going to be hard because of that gold energy. Plus, I got another light a little closer, not just the big one in the back. I got it on an angle you never would see it. But open yourself to others. This is how you create new friendships and attract a love relationship. And I think everyone that's fairly healthy wants someone to have, some other friendships and wants someone to have hobbies that they're not included in all the time. The reunion card will always come back to each other. In the butterfly card, which is transformation. So one of the two people, Gemini, one of the two people is just love struck, right? Love blind, right? So no matter what you do, when you're ready for them, they're waiting, which is not a great position because there's people, before I started doing readings and getting back into some of this metaphysical stuff again, I took a long pause. I'd hear other readers talk about people waiting for 7, 10, 13 years for a person's relationship or ex, to fall out of a relationship so they could have them again. Oh man, don't do that. Don't put your life on hold. You don't have to heal it. You don't have to forgive it necessarily, but that's just not right. Yeah. Um, all right, so then we have the butterfly. That kind of came stuck to reunion, evolving and growth, next phase, healing inner child, releasing the past. And that's why they said maybe in the top row, there's a little quiet energy, being with yourself, a little pause. I feel like I got something in my left eye and it's driving me crazy. And then these glasses are sliding down my nose, just I'll find a different pair after this reading. All right, let's get into that last row for you, Gemini. All right. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and feel free to comment. As long as you keep it reasonably sane. Think there's something we could do better or something I could change that would help everyone. Go ahead and put it out there. I'm not saying that I will, but go ahead and put it out there. I'm curious. I'm on my drive. I need 500 members. I'm on my drive. But if the messages go out and help one or two people, I'm happy with that too. It'll be what it'll be. It'll go to the people who need to hear it. Worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. It's showing real young energy. Teenage to 23ish. Innocent. They're out in nature. They're grounded. They're in communication with the fairies. This is just saying, have patience. You deserve love. You are lovable. So, that's your job. Make sure that your antenna is vibrating that out. I deserve love. I deserve to be in a loving relationship. I deserve to treat myself with love. People that don't treat me with love, I can put a high boundary up. I don't even have to deal with them. I can even block them and not even tell them why when I'm ready. Don't okay. And then romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. So there's something cooking here, Gemini. Something cooking. You guys gonna blend in with somebody this month, Gemini? All right. To close up the reading, you can think of a question that needs either a timing or an answer. This is the angel answer deck, but a lot of them have to do with timing. So I'm going to shuffle and give you 60 to 90 seconds, to think of your question and to see if any any card leaves the deck. We're only looking for one card. So get that question in your mind. Hit that subscribe button. Returning viewers, I appreciate it. All right, you guys ready? The answer to your question that only you know, I don't know about it, is, you got a big fat yes. You got a definitive card. A lot of them aren't that simple. So you got a yes. And I hope that, hope that resonates with you. Thank you for allowing me to read your energy, and we'll see you next time. Spirit Child 1723.